it's not that long since our last meeting, but of course we've rearranged our schedule of meetings due to Easter, and so it's a little bit shorter since we met last time. And firstly, be aware that this council meeting is recorded. It will be live streamed and will remain available to the public online. And of course, all of our past meetings are publicly available on our YouTube channel. So that is available to us all. Could I move now to the acknowledgement of country and the statement of values, please, Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. Our acknowledgement of country. The Central Coast Council acknowledges and pays respect to the traditional owners of Lutruwita, Tasmania, the Palawa Pakana people. We acknowledge the Punalapana tribe of this northern country, and in doing so, we celebrate one of the world's oldest continuing cultures. And our statement of values, guided by the diverse beliefs, experiences and backgrounds of the people we represent, we strive to make inspired and respectful decisions today that will build a better tomorrow.
Thank you so much. Attendance and apologies. So we have a full complement of both councillors and staff this evening, and of course we welcome in particular our new CEO, Vicky Brereton, who's been with us for a week, and she's come back for week 2. So that is always a good sign. That's a big effort. On behalf of councillors and your staff and the Central Coast community at large, I welcome you to Central Coast. We're pleased to have you here, and we look forward to working with you in many years to come.
Thank you very much.
So no apologies for this evening. Declarations of interest is item 2. Councillors and staff must declare any pecuniary or conflict of interest in any item on the agenda. Do I have any declarations, please? Councillor Hiscott?
Yes, thank you. Just have a declaration in item 14.3, I think.
14.3, indeed it is. Thank you. One for myself at 9:02. Any others? No? Thank you. Moving on. Item 3 is confirmation of the minutes. Would a councillor care to move the recommended motion for this item, which is confirming the ordinary meeting of the 17th of March? Councillor Viney, thank you. Councillor Diprose, second. Councillor Viney, any questions on those minutes?
No, thank you, Mayor.
No. Any questions from around the table? No. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, aye.
Aye.
Against? The motion is carried. Takes us to item 4.1. Which is Mayor's Communications. Just a couple of things from me. 25 years of Relay for Life in Tasmania, and of course Penguin is the home to the first of those relay events that unfolds around the state. They had a fundraising target of $150,000 from the Penguin event, and so far they've reached 157,800,000 last time I checked. So a huge congratulations to the organising committee under Phil's leadership. It was lovely to be able to join them for the opening ceremony. I know different members of council popped in at different times over those hours, but aren't we so lucky that that volunteer committee goes above and beyond every year to raise important funds for Relay as part of the Relay for Life program. And also just to acknowledge, because they don't appear in the diary, that myself, the CEO, Deputy Mayor, Director of Infrastructure Services, have acknowledged a couple of federal candidate funding pledges for Central Coast and indeed for the region, which no doubt will play out over the passage of time, and I think you'll have seen most of that either through press releases or through social media. But pleasingly, to date, those pledges have aligned with our own priorities list and things that we have identified as priorities for the municipal area. So that's very pleasing. 4.2 takes us to the Mayor's Diary, a list there of items that I've attended on your behalf or on behalf of the community, and that the Deputy Mayor has done so. Would a councillor care to move the recommended motion for that item, please? Thank you, Councillor Hiscott, seconded Councillor Beswick. Any questions on the diary or comments? Deputy Mayor, perhaps yourself?
Yeah, just like to make a comment on your behalf. I attended the Ulverstone District Cricket Club dinner on Saturday night, and I'd just like to pass on, and if our director can pass on to the staff how pleased they are with the way that the wicket has been prepared. You know, we only started doing it 2 years ago. You know, there's always a learning experience as that goes on, but they said this year's been seamless. and they look forward to working with the council again in the next year. So that's all worked well. I'd also like to acknowledge the winners of the main medals this year. Alex Winwood, he was the first grade champion, and that was the Don Pearce medal. A lot of us more senior people around the table would remember Don Pearce, and some of the stories they told about him the other night. He was obviously a pretty good spin bowler, and he bowled out a champion South African batsman, Pollock, I think, at a game in Devonport, which was one of his feats. And in the second grade, it was Rowan Speglick. He won the Harold Stone medal. So I'd just like to acknowledge those people that won the awards. Thanks, Max.
Excellent. No, good on you, and thank you for your support there. Any questions in relation to the diary? No? I think I had a mover and a seconder, didn't we? Thank you. I put the motion. All those in favour, aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 5.1 is councillor communications. Have any councillors got items that they wish to report on this evening, please? Councillor Diprose, thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring to your attention that I attended the Youth Council meeting the other week. Wait for a minute. Where we had a couple of members of Ethos Urban there with the new council and broke them up into workshops, and they did their own little reporting back on what they see in the future as far as our housing planning that they would like. The focus was public transport, build more out in the Gawler area, maintain green space, build up and add stories, build some more out at Gawler but have a coffee shop or something out there so that people don't have to come into town if they're elderly. One of the quotes was, we need to create an out of town, a new in-town area, which I thought was an interesting concept. They spoke about terrace housing for families near schools, but with backyards, and more units in town for singles and couples. That was very interesting to look at what they thought was needed in the years to come for themselves.
Indeed.
I also just wanted to bring to the attention a couple of things that was posted after the wonderful 150 Easter extravaganza yesterday, where a couple of people actually jumped on the Penguin Tas community page and thanked some young people for being kind, where their child hadn't, especially in the junior section, had not been quick enough to secure Easter eggs or whatever. So there's a couple of really great stories of young people being acknowledged for sharing with other children that were crying and everything. So I just think that was great. That was heartwarming for me to read. And not only the children behaving like that, but also the parents appreciating it and actually sharing those stories on the Penguin Tas community page. So we must be doing some things right when at that age they're prepared to give their chocolate away. So
Excellent. Thank you, and congratulations to the Penguin 150 committee on what looked like another wonderful event for the year that is Penguin. Any other councillors wish to report on their committees or events? Councillor Carpenter.
A real quick, Mayor, at the last Caves to Canyon meeting, which again was very quick. Most businesses reported a good season through the summer and so on, and slowly, winding down now for winter and going away on long breaks and their holidays and so forth. But one point, I forgot to mention it to Director Darrell, come up again was Cooks Road, or Hales Road as it's probably known through Rhino. And the question would be, would the work that we're going to be doing on the economic value of the dial, would opening of Hales Road be part of that report or that study?
That might be a question on notice
Yeah,
for
question
the
on notice, please, Mayor.
director, but I suppose they would see that as part of an economic
Yep.
development approach.
Project, yeah, going forward.
Okay, good. Oh, it's good to see that they're thinking
Been
big
there
picture and thinking futuristically. Yeah,
Thanks,
good.
Mayor.
Excellent. No, thank you for that. Anything further? No, that takes us to 5.2, councillor questions on notice. No questions on notice have been received from councillors. And councillor questions without notice. This is your opportunity to ask questions of the CEO or directors through the CEO if you haven't had a chance to do so previously this week. Anything from around the table? Oh, it looks like you've already answered everything. Thank you so much. 5.4, councillor motions on notice. No motions on notice have been received. Takes us to petitions and deputations. 6.1, no petitions have been received. 6.2, no deputations or requests to address this meeting have been made. That takes us to public question time. So public question time is conducted in accordance with Regulation 31 of the Local Government Meeting Procedures and Council's own public question time policy. Public question time is limited to a maximum of 30 minutes. Shortly we will get to the floor to see if there are questions from the gallery. 7.1 were public questions taken on notice from last month's meeting. So for the purpose of record, 5 questions were taken on notice at the 17th of March meeting, and those questions and the responses are listed in the agenda, as I said, for the purpose of recording that. CEO, I noticed that as part of some of those questions, some of those attendees last month that were interested in talking to us further about the issue of trees in Risby Street. I understand that at our invitation, the Director of Infrastructure met with some of those folks today. So that was a good thing to be able to do.
Absolutely. So yes, we thought it would be lovely to reach out to them so we can actually have a conversation, understand their concerns from them rather than third hand. So that meeting happened today with the director. There was probably 3 or 4 people that attended, so it was productive and the dialogue was open, which is really good.
Terrific. Thank you so much. Just to let councillors know that was done. 7.2, public questions on notice. So 2 questions from a member of the public were submitted on notice for today's meeting. So as is customary, we read them aloud and then we read the responses just as if they were in the room in case they are watching online but were unable to physically join us. So question 1, so 2 questions from Leslie Lyons at least. Question 1, in June 2024, the council convened an agricultural roads roundtable in Ulverston where the 10-tonne weight limited Leith Road was raised or discussed. What is the full content of discussion, comments or observations regarding 10-tonne weight limited Leith Road at this roundtable? And question 2 was in June 2024, the council convened an agricultural roads roundtable in Ulverston where agreement on a plan on heavy vehicle route priorities appears to have been discussed. What is the plan on heavy vehicle route priorities discussed at this roundtable? So the response to both of those questions from the Director of Infrastructure Services is as follows. The Central Coast Council convened the Agricultural Roads Roundtable to discuss issues relating to access and egress for heavy vehicles carrying horticultural produce on the road network around Forth and Don, for which responsibility is shared between both Central Coast and Devonport Council and the state government. The roundtable was held at 1:30 p.m. on the 25th of June 2024 in the council chamber at the Administration Centre in Ulverston. In response to your first question, the section of Leith Road with a 10-tonne load limit was one of the issues discussed. However, no decisions were made regarding this issue at the roundtable. It was noted that any review of the existing load limit would need to include an assessment of the structural capacity of the road pavement, as well as considerations for turning movements for larger vehicles at the Bass Highway junction. In response to your second question, future actions for consideration arising from the meeting included undertaking traffic counts, understanding future industry needs, and exploring solutions such as speed limit changes, road upgrades, and priority routes. No plan on heavy vehicle route priorities was agreed to at the roundtable. I trust that answers Leslie's question. In this case, we will move to questions from the floor. So public questions without notice provide an opportunity for members of the public to ask questions of the council relating to the activities of council. Statements and debate will not be allowed, and any questions asked must be clear and succinct. Members of the public may ask up to 2 questions at any time. Please address your questions to myself. Just state your name and your area of residence and advise the subject matter on which your question relates. Questions are asked in accordance with Regulation 31 of the Local Government Meeting Procedures Regulations and our own policy. Please note that questions relating to any item for decision on this meeting agenda are not allowed in the interest of procedural fairness. And I advise the public gallery again that this council meeting is recorded, it is live streamed and remained available to the public online. That said, some of you that have been here before, if you wish to ask a question, please step to the end of the table so that we can capture your question via the microphone. For those that might be joining us online, just state your name and where you're from, and if I can answer the question tonight, I will do so. If not, we will take it on notice for a future time. Any questions from the gallery? Mr. Abood, go on.
Oh, look at the faces.
Just do it.
If you insist, mate.
I do insist, Kevin. Please step up and join us.
Now, before I start, welcome Chief Executive Officer. You wouldn't be Queenslander by chance?
No.
Because the previous Chief Executive Officer, we could let the rest of the table have it with the AFL. Because who's first and second on the ladder? Oh, sorry, hang on.
Moving on.
Right, questions without notice. As per section 39E of the Local Government Act, appointment of a comptroller leads thee to the first question. Does the Central Coast Council have a comptroller? And if so, can ye councillors please provide in the best interest of the community who or whom the council's comptroller is? Section 20 of the Local Government Act 1993 in Tasmania outlines the roles of councils, which includes providing for the health, safety and welfare of the community, as well as ensuring the peace, order and good government of the municipal area. With reference to the Port Hedland motion, of which thee was informed that all of ye councillors have received and have had time to review the said documents, this information pack consisted of reports from scientists and doctors globally, of which many were peer reviewed. Under the above stated act, that is section 20, and now that all of ye councillors are aware of potential major side effects or even death, ye could be held liable if any of your community do experience the same, let alone how would you feel if someone you know actually dies from partaking in these injections? Lee is wondering if any of the councillors know of anyone who has been injured from partaking in the administrating of this shot. Now, Lee has heard from a councillor in another area in Tasmania that there has been a directive addressed to all of the general managers in all of the councils in Tasmania that there was misinformation in this Port Hedland motion, information pack. This leads thee to my second question. In the best interest of the community, thee is wondering why this directive has been addressed to the general managers, what evidence supports this misinformation directive which has been circulated, and when there is action taken against a council because ye are aware of possible complications, will the state step in and support ye?
Thank you, Mr. Abood. In relation to the first question, which is the comptroller through potentially, yes, through you,
Yes.
to yourself, through to the director, through yourself, or as you wish.
Thank you, Mayor. If you would please let me take that on notice, just so I can get my head across the Local Government Act in Tasmania. It's a little bit different to New South Wales, so I want to make sure that I reference the right sections, and more than happy to provide you advice back on that.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yep.
And in relation to question 2, obviously, as you've mentioned, Mr. Abood, councillors received the information pack. I'm not sure whether acting CEOs prior to your commencement received a directive, but again, perhaps
We'll
that's
take that
something
on
we need
notice.
to take that on notice.
Can I please look
Yep,
into that?
absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Any other questions?
Go on, let's, in for a penny. No, I think my arms are long enough. Shared set of glasses. Thank you very much for allowing me to ask a question. Before doing so, at the last meeting I attended,
You're right.
It is my right, apparently.
Would you mind stating your name just for those?
Philip
that don't
Jewell
recognise you?
from Preston.
Thank you, Phil.
Just for procedural information, at the last meeting, there were some questions and then the meeting continued on to other things. And I developed another question on hearing things from the meeting.
Yes.
And I expected there probably would be the opportunity before question time finishes, were there any other questions? But you got to a point and said, how are we going now for question time? I know, finished 7 minutes ago. And I thought, oh, darn, because I didn't think it was right to interject into the meeting. You were flowing along just beautifully.
Appreciate that.
And I thought that would be the most rude to do so. So it just was a little bit surprising that the time ticked on and was passed without an opportunity to. So I just thought I'd
Understood, thank you. And
raise
did
it.
you leave that question with?
I think I came back and put it in there at the office.
That was my,
I was across the counter.
yes, that was my understanding, was that you had provided it to us post the meeting through you, CEO. Did we have a?
Yes,
Finally,
we
was
did address that. I'm just checking now. I think we addressed that at the last meeting in March.
Yeah, which was at Penguin, which we weren't aware you were going to
Oh,
Penguin.
that's right.
so
Yes, yes. Sorry, I
hence
apologise. Yes.
we missed your smiley faces for a month.
Likewise. So it appears, the question and the response appears in the agenda documents for the March meeting.
Agenda and minutes, yes.
Thank you.
Right,
So,
I haven't, if it was, so I would have written on there that my email wasn't working at the time. Hence I would have thought it might have either got posted or texted, those being the two options of communication, but I didn't see any response. So
Look to resend that to you.
I'd be interested if it was possible.
Absolutely, we can do that.
thank you, and thank you for pointing out those things. And tonight's question, or two.
So, as you're aware, there are quite a few of us who have concerns about the way things are progressing worldwide. And so there's lots of little nuggets of things going on, and piece by piece we want to try and understand them to see whether they're good for the people or whether they're not good for the people.
Understood.
One of the issues that I can see is the introduction of the DAP, the Development Assessment Panel. That will impact on the capacity of Central Coast Council to represent the community, which it is formed to represent, so it's ratepayers. This introduction opens up extreme risk for corruption as power is centralised in the hands of a few. Question is, does Central Coast Council support the introduction of the DAP?
Give to the Director for Strategic Growth through you, CEO.
Thank you.
Thank you for your question. So, Council has consistently been opposed to DAPs in their proposed form. So, Council believes that local government is the best layer of government generally to make planning-related decisions. We have said that we'd consider DAPs under one scenario, and that's a scenario where they exist for the purpose of a council being able to voluntarily refer an application to the DAP, for example, where the council feels that it has a conflict or where we don't have the capability or capacity to assess the DA. But as a general principle, we believe that local government should retain its responsibilities for planning.
So maybe in an advisory capacity, but not with a decision-making capacity, the DAP.
Potentially.
Thank you.
The second question then, what steps will Central Coast Council take to retain the role of development approvals in the elected representatives?
Thank you. Again, the Director.
Again, thanks for the question. So the draft bill has been available twice that I'm aware of for public consultation. Council made a strongly worded submission the first time around, outlining pretty much what I told you a moment ago. Submissions on a revised bill are due in the coming days. We have prepared a draft submission that we will lodge, and the gist of that submission is that the changes proposed under the revised bill are not significantly different from what was proposed originally, and on that basis our position remains unchanged.
Right.
Once that consultation period closes, or at some point, Darryl, all of those submissions are available publicly online, I believe. So any member of the public will be able to go and read our own submission and the submission of others. That has certainly been the practice of that department in the past.
So is that then a case that Parliament will either pass or not pass the bill, and that's as far as the capacity you have to object goes.
That's correct. We'll put in a representation as council, and we'll participate in the Local Government Association submissions also.
Thank you very kindly. Thanks
Thank
for your
you.
responses.
Thank you so much. Any other questions from the gallery, please?
We'll even give you and your pen.
Thank you so much. So we will keep our eye on the clock and ensure in case any other questions come to you, I provide you the opportunity to do so. Sorry, councillors, I am scrolling. That takes us to item 8.1, council acting as a planning authority, and there are no matters for consideration for the planning authority at this meeting. Takes us to item 9, the office of the CEO and Mayor, and 9.1 is the Chief Executive Officer's report. You have a number of community minutes that have been provided to you, as well as the status report for a variety of our work. Would a councillor care to move the recommended motion for this item, please? Thank you, Councillor Beswick, seconded Councillor Lehman. Councillor Beswick, any questions?
Just have one comment. It was just pleasing, and I've often had it raised with me, especially with our Homes Our Future piece of work that we're doing at the moment, about what's happening with the land adjacent to the school at East Ulverstone and on Eastland Drive. And it's pleasing once people know that they think it's Education Department land. It's not, but the northern piece is owned by a trust group that's in Ulverstone, and they've been waiting on some design work to be done in conjunction with the swimming pool area out there in the Education Department. It's really pleasing to see the note in the minutes here that the car park design has that's been presented to the Education Department, that's been endorsed by the committee. So that'll hopefully get those blocks of lands developed in the not, naturally it all takes a while to get all those things done, but it'll be great to see those blocks, which will be really beneficial to our town.
Thank you. Any other comments? Thank you.
Just one, Mayor. I just want to point out to us as councillors that the grant agreement for the Our Homes Our Future being signed, and it was pointed out to us quite clearly last week at our order meeting that there was in contradiction of pursuing that work until that was signed. So I'm thankful that it's signed, and as was stated at our meeting, there's a learning process in there for all of us, and which we take. Because we were the ones that voted it through and voted to get on with the work. So I think there's a real learning process there that we will get better at going forward and understand. And we've got to sign now. We can sleep a bit easier. Now it's been brought to our attention before.
Indeed. Some learnings there.
Yep.
Any other speakers? No. Councillor Beswick, did you wish to close?
No, nothing more to add.
Nothing further. Thank you. I put the motion. All those in favour, aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion is carried unanimously. Thank you. That takes us to 9.2, for which I have an interest, so I will vacate the chair and leave it in the capable hands of the Deputy Mayor. I may come back.
You'll be back. And if we call you, Mayor.
Take over. Take over.
Definitely no takeover here. Thanks, councillors. Basically, this is why the mayor's left the room. It's that our mayor is seeking our nomination for the Local Government General Management Committee and also to run as the president. Would someone care to move the recommended motion for this item? Move to Councillor Hiscott, seconded Councillor Wiley. Any discussion on this, Councillor Hiscott?
Yeah, I think it's impressive that the Mayor Fuller has decided to run this position. I think she'd be very good for the position, and very happy to support her in that ambition to do so. So it'll be interesting to see how that is proceeded about within the Legat function. But I think it's very brave of her to put up her hand to do that, and would like to commend the motion.
Any other speakers?
I'd just like to say I can't think of a better woman for the job, to be honest. That she's shown great leadership for us at Central Coast, and her communication skills are invaluable. So I think that she'd be a great asset as president if she was elected. So happy to support.
Thank you. Anybody else? Michael?
I'm
Yes,
really pleased with the mayor's name being put forward, and I couldn't think of a better person to do the job, and she's above all aspects of all sorts of things in government, and we're very pleased to support.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. Councillor Diprose.
Yeah, so we haven't had a representative from the Northwest Coast or our Central Coast municipality since Sue Smith. So it'll be great if this, the mayor is able to get up as Legate President.
Any other speakers? No, I'd just like to add, concur with it, the other councillors' comments. Our mayor is a very competent person, and she would be do a really good job in this role if she ends up being elected. So I'm also happy to endorse that position. Did you want to close anything with that?
I'm happy with the discussion around the table.
All right, I'll put the motion then. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion's carried. You want to go and let it back in, Councillor? I might stay here.
Yeah, you're looking really good in that position, you know. Very comfortable.
I am happy to vacate. Did you say you want me to stay here? No.
Yes, Councillor Fuller.
Councillor Fuller. Your chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you. That takes us to 9.3, nomination for the Municipal Emergency Management Coordinator. You have the report and the recommendation there that Council nominate Nicholas Brown, Director of Infrastructure Services, for appointment by the Minister of Police, Fire and Emergency Management as our Municipal Emergency Management Coordinator for a period of 3 years. Would a councillor care to move the recommendation, please?
Don't move me.
Councillor Viney, thank you. Seconded Councillor Beswick. Councillor Viney, did you wish to speak to this item?
Yes, as Nick had told us before, it sort of goes with the territory of the position that he's in, and it always has been the tradition of the Director of Infrastructure to take this position. It's just a formality to be appointed as such.
Indeed. Any other speakers? Councillor Beswick.
Forget already.
Councillor Beswick.
I understand. I'd just like to thank Nick for, as it is expected that the role is, but naturally it's an extra task, and I'm sure that Nick will do a great job in this role. He brings a lot of experience too from his engineering background and so forth. So I'm sure he'll do a great job at that.
Thank you. Councillor Lehman.
And just want to take this opportunity to thank Paul Braden for his work in the role previously. So thank you very much to him and for weathering the several severe weather events that he went through, and hopefully Nick won't have to go through the same in this new role.
Thank you. Well said.
Well said. Yeah.
Any other speakers? Just for those in the gallery or watching online, this of course is our recommendation and the supporting report, and which goes to the Minister for Police, Fire and Emergency Management for his formal appointment of our candidate in the role. Anything further? No, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, aye.
Aye.
Against? The motion is carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 10 is community services, and there are no open session items from community services for this meeting. Takes us to item 11, which is corporate services. Item 11.1, the financial report from the Director of Corporate Services. Full report there for you to absorb. Would a councillor care to move the recommended motion for this item, please? Thank you. Councillor Viney, seconded. Councillor Lehman. Councillor Viney.
Yes, once again, it's a very clear and concise report. The only thing of note is that, and I'll read it out, the unfavourable result to date largely reflects the timing of budgeted capital gain receipts for the second instalment of disaster relief funding from October 2022 flood event and local roads and community infrastructure phase 4 funding. And that that is the main difference between what we had budgeted up to date and what has fallen upon us at this point in time. So therefore, I'm pleased to be able to move the financial report.
Excellent. Thank you. Other speakers? No. For anyone that's in the gallery, if you'd like a bit of bedtime reading, I would encourage you to take a copy of the agenda, and I'd be interested in any feedback. Certainly our financial reporting has become a lot clearer. It's certainly a lot easier for us to see the ups and downs of financial management and the risks. So we're continuously working to improve the transparency of that so that it's easily understood. And yes, timing is always an issue, isn't it, Councillor Viney?
Right.
So, but that is just something that we live with. Did you have anything that you wish to close with?
No, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, aye.
Aye.
Against? The motion is carried unanimously. Thank you. That takes us to infrastructure services. 12.1 is the Food Organics and Garden Organics and Recyclables contract update. So a report there for updating purposes only. The recommendation there is that we receive the report and note the achievements in relation to Central Coast, our diversion and our reduction in landfill. Would a councillor care to move the recommended motion for 12.1, please?
So move, Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, also known as Councillor Beswick. Councillor Wiley, thank you. Councillor Beswick, did you wish to speak to this?
Just to note, as you've mentioned, the diversion from landfill, like we're taking 67% because of our recycling and our FOGO out of landfill, which in the end, by the good work of our community, that ends up saving us money, and which has always got to be allocated for in the waste levy, in the state government waste levy. So it's noted in here there's $143,000 saved because of that diversion. So, and also that we do have we sort of try to get towards 10% of contamination, and currently we're at 7%. So keep up the good work, everybody, and let's see if we can get it down even lower than that for the next financial year.
Indeed, it's a collective effort. Any other speakers? Thank you, Councillor Wiley.
Thank you. While it's great to share the good news story, which it certainly is, and I think Central Coast has really led the way with bringing FOGO first, it's also worthwhile noting that recycling probably isn't quite at the target that we expect it to be at, and there is a little bit too much contamination. I think it's 15% at the moment. Still not looking too bad, but we've still got a little way to go to improve that, to make sure that you know, these bins and sometimes trucks don't get contaminated and go into landfill. So just worth noting.
Yeah, indeed. Other speakers? Of course, that is the risk, isn't it? Because we only need 1 or 2 bins that are significantly contaminated or contain product which is not correct for that bin for the whole truck load to be put to landfill, which is, you know, just devastating to think about, let alone the dollars to one side. It's about the environmental impact, but certainly doing well. And certainly, and just to let you know, this week there will be a media event to welcome Burnie City Council and Circular Head Council as they join the Food Organics and Garden Organics contract. So we're finally at the point where the whole region is doing it, which certainly makes not only measuring it, but making improvements and educating a whole lot easier when we've got a whole Northwest community to talk to. Councillor Beswick, did you wish to close?
Just one note, and this is probably people watching and in the gallery, from an educational point of view, we talk about the FOGO that gets contaminated, that we lose the whole truck, basically then goes to landfill. The other one, which I know it's a bit of a beef, not a beef, an education piece of mine, batteries and fires in the landfill and fires even in the trucks, which just basically destroys the truck. So if anybody's listening or pass the message on to anybody, just keep all the batteries out of any rubbish because it's huge consequences when you get a fire in landfill to get it out, and if you lose a truck, it costs hundreds of thousands of dollars. But other than that, nothing else.
Yeah, well said. And both here and in Penguin at our customer service area, we will happily take people's batteries off them, won't we? So very recyclable product. Fabulous. That brings us to a close. I put the motion. All those in favour, aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Section 13 is strategic growth, and 13.1 is the list of development support determinations. There is the March determinations report. Would a councillor care to move the recommended motion for that item, please? Councillor Hiskett, thank you. Seconded by Councillor Lehman. Councillor Hiskett, did you wish to talk to us about this?
Yeah, mainly to comment on the development applications and the large number that we've done in the March year. It's absolutely significant, the amount of dollar figures that have been approved by council. Mostly, and the timelines we're achieving well below the requirement as well. So it's an absolute testament to that department that they continue to perform above and beyond. And I know sometimes in trying circumstances in that department as well, but certainly punching its way through. And looks like this year, if you look at the rest of the graph, is going to be a bumper year for applications in Central Coast. So it's good to see it continuing along.
Thank you. Other speakers? Nothing. Why wouldn't you want to come and live here, right? And balancing that is always the trick. But there being no further discussion, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. 13.2 is the fixing of registration fees for the 25-26 financial year and other fees under the Dog Control Act 2000. As always stands, we set the fees for the financial year early so that we can get those notices out to people, which allows them to take advantage of the early payment provisions. Would a councillor care to move the recommended motion for that item, please? Thank you. Councillor Wiley, seconded. Councillor Diprose. Councillor Wiley, did you wish to speak to your motion?
Yes, sure. As you already mentioned in your opening statement, something that we do need to do each year. Prices have only increased a small amount as everything does go up for councils as well as individuals. I guess I'd just like to point out that there is a sizable discount if you do pay before June, 30th of June, I should say. So certainly there's that opportunity for people to really take advantage of that to get in early.
Thank you. Other speakers? Councillor Diprose.
We'll just add to that there is also another small incentive for anyone to go and take their dogs to obedience school, provide council with certificate, then they'll also get an additional decrease in fees on top of that. So people would just be aware of that.
Fabulous. Thank you. Other speakers? Councillor Carlton.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. Fully support the price increases. I think they're minimal for what people can get around Central Coast to walk and exercise their dogs and everything else that goes with it. But the interesting through all the report is we are down on dog registrations this time compared to last year. I wouldn't question anybody to think we have less dogs running around. So it probably again comes a time, and I remember back a few years ago we did do it quite a substantial effort in getting dogs registered again, and perhaps that's something we can look to again into our works program in the coming year or so, because I would have thought we've got more dogs, not less, but yet we have less dogs registered.
Agreed. Other speakers? Oh, I suppose for me it's just always a good reminder that the revenue that is raised through these fees only accounts for about 80% of the actual cost of the animal compliance officers' work and the infrastructure that we put in that are in relation to dogs and the joy of owning dogs, and the balance of that is met across the general rate base. So it is certainly not a profit-making exercise, and we're doing the best that we can with the resources that we have. Councillor Wiley, did you wish to close the discussion?
No, I think it's all been said.
No,
Thank you.
thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion is carried unanimously. Thank you. It being a short month and it being a short meeting, that brings us to the close of the open part of the meeting. So we have item 14.1, meeting closed to the public. Would a councillor care to move the recommended motion for that item, please? Councillor Wiley, thank you. Councillor Diprose. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried unanimously. The meeting is now closed to the public at 6:44 p.m. Thank you for your attendance. A safe and happy Easter break if you're getting one, a solemn day of remembrance on April the 25th, because we won't see you before. Thank you for spending time with us, and we have some questions to come back to you with.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Michael. Nice to see you again.
See ya.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.